It's time. These are my top 10 whiskeys of 2025. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Hutch. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey through the world of whiskey. And what a journey it's been through 2025. I really just want to say a heartfelt thank you to all of you for watching, for subscribing, for liking the videos, for commenting all throughout this year. This really is one of my favorite videos that I get to do every single year to break down what I see as the best whiskeys of the entire year. There's been a lot of great releases here in 2025, and I'm excited to dive in. A couple of important caveats to keep in mind as we go through this list. First of all, it is subjective, it's just my list, and it only includes things that I was personally able to purchase and add to my collection. Still a considerable amount of whiskey, but I don't get everything, and so there are bottles that are going to be missing from this list. Hopefully, maybe you've been able to get some of them and taste them, and you can let me know in the comments how good they are. The other caveat is that right now I've got the list ordered by what I think is best. So we'll work our way all the way up to what I consider the very best whiskeys of 2025. But every year I do a blind bracket challenge to really discover the very best whiskeys of 2025. So we're gonna take away all the bias, but today is just about the list of the best whiskeys. And then last but not least, my final caveat is, if you have enjoyed any of the content coming out of the Bourbon Hutch this whole year, if you enjoyed this video or if you learn anything or have a little bit of fun, the new rule is you gotta subscribe. We are so close to 4,000 subscribers. I think we can get there by the end of the year. We'd love to have you join us for the rest of the year for this Whiskey of the Year bracket and then beyond into 2026. So without further ado, let's dive in. First, I've actually got a set of some honorable mentions for you. 5 bottles that didn't quite make the list, but I think are worthy of a little bit of discussion. So we'll start out with Four Roses OESO recipe. So this is part of their new single barrel options available for around $50 at 100 proof. Very delicious stuff, very crowd pleasing, very sweet. Great whiskey and great value this year. All right, honorable mention number 2 is Bulleit Bourbon Bottled in Bond. Remember when this came out in like January or February? Got a good amount of hype then. 100 proof, 7 years old-ish. Really delicious stuff. I think it makes a mean cocktail as well, but a great sipper all on its own. Okay, moving on to honorable mention number 3, which is Old Fitz 7-year. For me, because this has the Old Fitz name, I was maybe a little disappointed when it first came out, but over time I came to realize this bottle isn't about being a unicorn. It's about making Old Fitz more accessible. So it's still a beautiful bottle, and I think the palette and the presentation is actually quite beautiful. Very pleasant, very sweet. For $60, I really do think it's a good value this year and deserves a mention. Moving right along to honorable mention number 4, which is gonna be Remus Repeal Series number 9. 104 proof this year. It's got a blend of mostly 10 and 11-year-old whiskeys, but a little bit even 19-year-old whiskey. Delicious stuff, kind of a funky profile. But for $100, I do think this is a pretty solid limited release from Remus this year. And then last but not least, for our honorable mentions, we've got Old Forester 1924. This is their annual release, comes out toward the beginning of the year. They re-released it in 2025, 100 proof. It is a little pricey at $115, but I actually think it's a delicious pour. These are my 5 honorable mentions. Big thing to note here is I'm gonna put the Remus and the Old Forester 1924 into our bracket challenge. Just helpful if we have 12, an even number that splits up nicely. So these 2 are gonna be in the mix. We'll see if they maybe take down a few other ones that currently I have on my top 10 list. Speaking of, let's get into that real thing you're here for, the top 10 whiskeys of 2025. All right, as we dive in, keep in mind that this is generally an order of what I think is great to best of the year. And then also, I want to keep hearing in the comments below, what do you think of my list? Do you feel like I missed something? Or is there a bottle you've got that you think deserves to be called one of the best of 2025? Let's get into it with number 10. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Batch B5 25. This, for me, is the closest Elijah Craig has gotten to this year of its previous standard. It's almost that 12-year-old age statement that we used to have. 11 years, 6 months old, 126.2 proof. I think it's a very, very good presentation of Elijah Craig. Unfortunately, I do feel like Elijah Craig as a whole and Larceny Barrel Proof were a bit lower than I would want them to be this year. Still, this one's full of oak, brown sugar, all those good Elijah Craig Barrel Proof characteristics that you could want. All right, moving on to number 9. Maker's Mark Cellar Aged 2025. You might be surprised this one's a little bit lower. It's 112.9 proof. It's got a blend of 11 to 14-year-old whiskeys. I think it's really, really delicious stuff. My dilemma is that the price point's pretty high, and actually bottle number 8 did stronger than this when I put them head to head, so I couldn't really justify putting this one too much higher. But again, delicious, big plum, raisin, fudge, cherry. It's a delicious pour, but the next one came above it, and that's number 8. Maker's Mark, the Keeper's Release. Only $70 versus $175, and delivers more just upfront sweetness. Maybe not as complex, but rich, like raspberry cherry with some fudge, maple. It's delicious, it's sweet, and it totally justifies its price, if not punches way above its weight class. Let's keep it sweet, let's keep it moving with number 7. Bardstown Bourbon Company's Discovery Series, number 13. Double finished in American and Hungarian oak, so it brings the oak, it brings the brown sugar, it brings plenty of sweetness and spice. So a really delicious pour for around $140. Maybe not quite as good as the Discovery Series of the last couple of years, but a very, very intriguing and sweet pour that's hard not to like, and I think it does justify its price. All right, let's move on to bottle number 6. It's gonna be Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Heritage Release. This is their toasted profile. Wow, this stuff for $70 is phenomenal. One of the best toasted releases I've ever tasted, full of rich banana note, like caramelized banana and caramel, but then also vanilla, and just that toasty oak that really comes through. 100 proof, and so sippable, very crushable. I'm interested to see how this does in the bracket, because there's one bottle I would love to buy over and over again from 2025. This might be it for the price. All right, we're halfway there. Let's transition. We've got all bourbons. Let's get a rye in the mix with number 5. Old Forester 117 Series Bottled in Bond Rye. This thing's almost 11 years old. It's 100 proof because it's bottled in bond, but that age, oh man, it delivers great whiskey. This nose might be my favorite nose of the year. We'll see how it stands up in the blind bracket, but by golly, I feel like more people should be talking about how good this bottle is. Only comes in the 375 milliliter bottles for $65, but man, that profile is great. Let's keep it in the rye category with number 4. Old Overholt 12 Cask Strength. This is a Jim Beam release. It is 12 years old, obviously. They've done the 10 and 11-year-old in the previous 2 years. This is the oldest so far. Cask strength, 117 proof, big, bold oak and raspberry on this one. Delicious rye with good spice. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 flaws in it that could keep it from going super far in the bracket, but if I had to pick one that I feel like I'm gonna be able to really enjoy 1 or 2 strong notes from, that oak and that raspberry are all over this thing. Excited to see how it does. Okay, so we're into our top 3 now. This is really the upper echelon of the year. I think all 3 of these bottles are spectacular. If I had to seed this whole Whiskey of the Year bracket, these would be the favorites, the contenders. All right, next is bottle number 3. Michter's Barrel Strength Rye. I absolutely love Michter's rye. Give it to me at barrel strength and it just turns up all the flavors. We've got something that is, I think 110 proof, my bottle. It tastes like a sugar cookie, tastes like vanilla custard, lemon zest. It's just so good, and barrel strength brings a lot of punch. It's only $120, so for a limited release, I think that's pretty solid, and I would buy this over and over again on repeat, that's for sure. Now, our last two bottles bring us back to the world of bourbon, although I do want to highlight, these three being ryes, I think this is a really strong year from rye in 2025. Let me know in the comments if you agree, but I think rye had a sneaky great year. But these last two, they are something special. They are really, really awesome. And I'm so excited to see how they turn up in this blind bracket, but also just to talk about how great they are. So, bottle number 2. Bardstown Cathedral French Oak Finish. I mean, this thing has a blend of 9 to 18-year-old whiskeys, a lot of 14 and 18-year-old stuff in here, and then it's finished for 14 months, long time, in 300-year-old French oak barrels. The same wood that was used to restore Notre Dame Cathedral is what the story is. Story's great. The whiskey is even better. That French oak finish is easily the best French oak I've ever tasted. It is unbelievable how good that finish is. Super excited to see how that stands out among the crowd, but it deserves acknowledgement as one of the top whiskeys of 2025. All right, we've reached the very end. Number 1, this bottle is truly special. It is a lot of money, but also a massive age statement, and it just delivers so much good flavor. Number 1 is Knob Creek 21-year-old bourbon. I mean, the oak on this thing is monstrous, but also beautiful. It's just so forward with that oak, and it's delicious. Big black cherry, vanilla notes in there too. Comes in waves. It's only 100 proof, but I think that helps keep it from being too oaky. Just delicious, delicious stuff. My thoughts are this one's my current favorite for whiskey of the year. If I had to be placing bets on my own bracket, this is what I'd put some money on as the clear favorite. I think that oak profile is really gonna just punch everything else out of the competition. We'll see though, that's the point of doing a blind bracket, just to figure it out. But for now, these are my top 10 whiskeys of 2025, the ones I found the most enjoyable, great value, great juice, just delicious stuff to get to sip on and share. Again, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this final list now that you've seen it? Anything missing? What's on your list of the best whiskeys of 2025? Again, I also want to just say at the end of this video here, like a big thank you to everybody who's watched, who's followed the channel, who's supported, who's commented throughout the year. It means the world, and it's just a lot of fun to get to go on this journey with all of you. Until I see you guys again for another video, all I can say is keep drinking good whiskey. Hopefully you found some great bottles to taste and open and share this year, and cheers.